And we're back. This is the latest Carson's Take 5. Ryan and Sonu. Sonu, I'm on 6th Street in Austin.
Wow.
It's crazy here. I can barely hear anything, but I thought it'd be kind of fun. Joe Rogan's Comedy Club is literally right behind me. Where are you right now? Looks quieter than where I am.
It's definitely quieter. I'm on some 6th Avenue, maybe in Omaha, or something like that. But it's pretty quiet. I'll just put it that way.
Well, the 6th Avenue, 6th Street, they sound a lot alike, but boy, they're different. That's all I can say.
They're different.
You look at this place. I mean,
Wow. You're in the thick of it.
There's a lot going on. But you know what? That brings us to the market. There's a lot going on. This week's in the latest Take 5, we're going to call it some good news. There is some good news out there. Let's start with the economy. You know, we were told a month ago the economy is going straight for a recession. Jobs matter. Are people employed or not? What did the backdrop of the employment picture last month look like, Sonu?
And that's important, right? GDP, 70% of it is consumption. Consumption, where does it come from? Incomes. And where does income come from? The labor market. I think a lot of people were expecting the labor market to crash in April after Liberation Day, April 2nd, which, by the way, should not have been the expectation, but for various reasons, which I won't get into. But look, the economy created about 177,000 jobs last month. Of course, there were downward revisions to February and March, but that's why you look at the 3-month average. That's about 155,000 jobs. That is more than enough at this point to keep up with population growth, and that is why the unemployment rate did not increase. It's still at 4.2%. That's historically low. The employment population ratio for prime age workers, 25 to 54 years old, that's something you and I talk about often. That's went up to 80.7%. That's higher than at any point in the 2000s expansion and the 2010s expansion, all the way from 2010 to 2019, right? So that's positive, right? Now, the other side of it is because things aren't cracking, haven't crashed in the economy, we probably are not going to get that many interest rate cuts from the Fed, right? But that's a problem for another day for now.
Oh, that's definitely some good news from a market's point of view. As everyone knows, we had a near bear market this time just a couple weeks ago. S&P down about 19%. So we took a look. 16 times in history, we had a near bear market or more, and then recovered half of that. So we recovered half of the recent near bear market. 1 year later, after you recover half of the previous near bear market, the S&P 500 was higher 16 out of 16 times 1 year later. And only once did we go on to make new lows. And interestingly, that was back in 2022, the most recent time. So you put it all together, are the lows for the year in? I'd say the odds are, listen, there's no guarantees in this industry, but they very well could be. Let's be clear. That doesn't mean we just go straight up. We are extremely overbought in the near term. Well-deserved back and fill makes sense. We still need good news on trade. We still need good news from the Fed, the economy. But listen, all that negativity, all that worry we saw, the old saying, it's hard to get hurt falling out of the basement window. There was a lot of negativity priced in, and you see this big rally on some decent earnings and maybe some good news on trade. That's that beach ball way under the water. You let go, we can get moving. So those are some positives. You know, we've got like a minute or so, and I can barely hear anything on 6th Street here in Austin. What's some other good news, Sonu?
I bet. No, I think at the end of the day, what do markets, when we think about investing, it's about surprises, right? When we came into this year, everyone is bullish, speaking about sentiment, right? And then we got surprised. Data came in a little weaker, data. Then we got the tariffs. The Fed wasn't cutting in March and things like that. And so we got a big downside surprise. And now it was all negative sentiment to the extreme. And so we are hopefully getting a few positive surprises. But to your point, that doesn't mean the volatility and all of that is over. We could still see a fair bit of volatility over the next several months. But, things may not be terrible. And the economy is not falling off a cliff. And I think that's important to recognize, at least for right now.
I love it. Well, listen, we've hit about the 5-minute mark. There is some good news out there if you look. There's some negative news out there also. We are fully aware. But we wanted to bring some good news this week in the latest Carson's Take 5. So with all that, this is Ryan and Sonu. We hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week, and hopefully it's a little quieter, and I can actually hear a word you just said, because I don't have a clue, Sonu, what you just said. I'm just reading lips here on 6th Street in Austin. See everybody next time. Take care. Thanks.